Straight ahead on 12 News, a big jumpstart to a new school year.
Move with the purpose, let's go.
What's different in the halls at Cooper High? Then, a painful time for those with allergies.
If it's a dry, windy day, this pollen will blow for miles.
Some tips to combat ragweed season. But first, a Brooklyn Park native prepares for a special military mission. 12 News starts right now. A Brooklyn Park native is in Virginia tonight preparing for one last military mission.
As Eric Nelson reports, it's a fitting way to cap years of service to our country.
These brave men have volunteered to protect us and defend our country's freedom. Today, we christen their ship.
The USS Minnesota was christened last October. On Saturday, it will be commissioned in Norfolk, Virginia. That means this state-of-the-art submarine will officially become part of the U.S. Navy fleet.
I've been on a lot of submarines, and this is the most impressive submarine that I've been on. Just the amount of capabilities that she has is amazing.
Charles Heistad, a 1991 graduate of Park Center High School, is one of 15 officers on the sub. Heistad is in charge of the USS Minnesota's sonar department. For Heistad, this is the pinnacle moment of a Navy career that has spanned 2 decades.
I was ecstatic because I wasn't able to get on board the Minneapolis-St. Paul. So this was an opportunity that came about, and I jumped right on it.
He's going to take the job to heart and do 110%. And of course, he's short and skinny, so he's perfect for being on a sub. So.
Military service is in the Heistad DNA.
I did 2 years in Iraq.
Charles' brother Edward served in Iraq.
That's him right there.
His father Robert was in Vietnam.
3 generations of wars under our belt.
And both his grandfathers fought in World War II. This Saturday's ceremony in Virginia will be a special snapshot in time for the Heistads.
He's coming to an end of his career now, so this is a great way to finish it out on the USS Minnesota.
All right, the USS Minnesota is clearly a super sub. It is 377 feet long, weighs 7,800 tons, can reach speeds of up to 25 knots, and can go 400 feet deep in the ocean. Heistad's father has already left for Norfolk via car, and his brother will fly there on Friday. Heistad is also a huge Minnesota Vikings fan, and he is hoping they can torpedo Detroit this Sunday. Mike?
All right, thank you, Eric. 2 local congressmen are taking opposing views on whether to take military action in Syria. Keith Ellison supports a strike if there is evidence that Syria used chemical weapons against its own people. Ellison says, quote, if the facts show that it was a gas attack authorized by the Assad regime, and if it's true that 1,500 people were killed, he says, I just don't think the world can stand by and say that's okay. Congressman Eric Paulson takes a different view. He says the president's request for military action in Syria is too broad, too open-ended, too risky, and does not identify a clear U.S. national interest for military engagement and putting U.S. troops in harm's way. Congress reconvenes next week to consider a resolution calling for an attack on Syria. Opinions are not along party lines. There are Republicans who agree with the president and favor a strike, and Democrats who don't.
Brooklyn Park Police continue to investigate a weekend shooting that left 1 man dead. It happened in the 6200 block of Winnetka Avenue at about 2 a.m. on Saturday. Police say several men got into a fight before the shooting. The identity of the man killed has not yet been released. As we went to air Tuesday evening, no arrests had been made.
A murder charge is now expected against a Brooklyn Center man accused in the robbery and death of a man in downtown Minneapolis. Varice Washington, who police say goes by the nickname Little O, is currently charged with aggravated robbery and first-degree assault. He's now expected to face a murder charge after the victim died on Sunday night. The medical examiner says 44-year-old Adrian Hernandez died after suffering blows to the head. Meantime, a Brooklyn Center man has been identified as the victim of a shooting in North Minneapolis. Chukwuma Terry Okoli was found dead in a car from multiple gunshot wounds. Minneapolis police say no arrests have been made. New teachers, new surroundings, and new classmates. Just some of the adjustments students must make heading back to school.
And in some school districts, students will have to adjust to a new school lunch menu as well. For example, in the Anoka-Hennepin School District, this fall's menu will feature 25 new meals, including new salad options. Students in the district helped taste test cafeteria recipes this past spring. One of the takeaways was the desire for more ethnic foods. So this year at Anoka-Hennepin schools, there will be more Asian and Italian options. Today for back to school, the entree for high school and middle school students was spicy popcorn chicken. As thousands of students begin the new school year, it is up to principals and teachers to get the year started on the right foot. In the Robbinsdale School District, there's new leadership at Cooper High School, but the focus remains the same. In the halls of Cooper High School,
Go, guys.
there's a new hawk
Moving with the purpose.
leading the mission.
Moving with the purpose.
Meet Principal Christina Hester.
If you need anything, you let me know. All right. We want to make this the best senior year. All right.
A former Gopher women's assistant basketball coach turned educator in the 1990s,
Good morning. Good morning.
Hester believes school leadership begins with caring.
A lot of times, especially at this age, kids are put off and adults can't hear them. And I believe my job is to listen and figure out how can I help you.
Our new principal, Ms. Hester, everybody.
She's new, yet familiar to the Cooper community, serving as a student teacher and coach here in 1993, and later as assistant principal in 2009.
Move with the purpose. Let's go.
Yet as principal, she now sets the tone.
I think a principal has a bigger role to play because it's boss of the whole school, boss of all the kids, boss of the students, the teachers, even the staff. You got to make sure everything goes right, and that's how you get a good school.
I guess what makes a good principal is just a person who cares about all their students and really wants to help them learn and improve and achieve their goals.
You guys got less than 30 seconds. Let's go. Come on.
Hester comes in with high expectations for her students, picking up where former principal Mike Favor left off.
To me, the challenge is how do we now move to that next level? It's kind of like going from good to great.
There are challenges at Cooper High School. More than 50% of the students qualify for free and reduced lunch, but it's also a school where nearly 90% of last year's seniors applied for higher education.
This is student council.
Oh, that's right. Kids are accepting the challenge of I can be somebody, I'm going to be somebody, and this is a place in which I think students are going to accelerate.
Hester comes back to the Robbinsdale district after serving several years as principal at Skyview Middle School in the East Metro. So those schools often running new principals at a couple different schools.
Lots of energy on day one.
That's right, gotta have it. There is a reason that you may be sniffling and sneezing right now.
Up next, what it is and what you can do about it. Then later in sports, Cooper's football team gets off to a good start in the season opener.
But first, still no sign of rain. More than half of Minnesota is now in a moderate drought.
A new report shows Minnesota's median household income has taken a steep hit. According to a new report out today, from 2000 to 2010, the state's median income fell by 18%. That was the steepest decline in the nation. The state's median household income currently stands at $58,000. The report by St. Paul-based Growth and Justice warns the state's prosperity is at stake if the gap between rich and poor continues to widen. Well, the end of summer guarantees three things: the start of a new school year, cooler temperatures, and the presence of ragweed.
It is something allergy sufferers are all too familiar with as they sniff and sneeze their way through these last few weeks of summer. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland provides some tips on how to be symptom-free.
Plymouth's French Regional Park is the perfect showcase for Mother Nature's natural landscape. But even the look of a beautiful landscape can be deceiving.
Well, this time of year tends to be what we call ragweed allergy season. That's the classic fall allergy season.
And the classic season brings the classic symptoms.
Runny nose, sneezing, stuffy nose, itchy, watery eyes.
Dr. Hemalini Mehta is an allergy specialist who blames the ragweed found in fields like this for making plenty of her patients feel miserable.
If it's a dry, windy day, this pollen will blow for miles. So as soon as you step outside, you're going to get exposed.
Dr. Mehta says ragweed pollinates around the beginning of August, with the peak pollen counts coming around Labor Day weekend. That's bad news for 25% of the population that suffers from fall allergies.
Yes, we're seeing more people having those symptoms, but there's lots of options out there.
The first option is attempting to avoid ragweed altogether. However, allergists say that avoiding ragweed can be unrealistic, but there are some over-the-counter medications that people can take to prevent and treat symptoms, specifically Zyrtec, Claritin, and Allegra, because they're non-drowsy and they only need to be taken once a day. The best advice from Dr. Mehta: treat your symptoms before the ragweed season starts.
Make sure you get your medications on board and you're prepared and you start everything that you need before the season hits, and that season will go much better for you.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
The good news is that ragweed levels will decrease as the temperatures cool down, with levels dropping off after the first frost. Coming up, one-way students are bouncing back into a new school year.
But first in sports, some tips for getting it done on the green. Jay Wilcox has that and more when we come right back. Well, Jay Wilcox with sports now. They had a pretty good season last year, and so far so good this season. It's early, but they're off to a good start.
It can't beat 1-0. That's the best you could do at this point. Cooper's football team had one of its best seasons in a long time last fall, going 8-3. The Hawks lost a great group to graduation, though, so there were some question marks coming into their season opener against visiting Marshall. And the Tigers get on the board first as quarterback Brad Ballman keeps it, and he gets in untouched on the left side. It's 7-0 Marshall in the first quarter. Cooper responds, though. Jamal Bryce takes the handoff and then breaks free to the outside. And 52 yards later, Bryce will reach the end zone. The two-point conversion fails, and the Hawks trail it 7-6 after the opening quarter. In the second quarter, Cooper takes the lead as Luke Lindquist goes deep down the sideline to Kayvon Hawkins, who gets in for a 41-yard scoring play. It's 12-7 Hawks after another missed PAT. And they extend the lead as Rashik French rolls to his left, and then he'll go back against the grain over the middle to Philip Howard, who battles over the goal line for the touchdown. It's 18-7 Cooper at halftime. To the fourth quarter, Cooper's up 18-13, a fourth and goal play for Marshall, but Bryce swats the pass away, and that preserves the lead for Willie Howard and the Hawks. And they get a little breathing room on special teams as Philip Howard fields the punt, breaks a couple of arm tackles, and takes it 35 yards for the touchdown return as the Hawks win a good game 24-13. Providence Academy's young football program has become a consistent winner. Derek Ashey, a former Lions assistant and Wyzetta graduate, made his head coaching debut as Providence visited St. Paul to take on St. Agnes. Henry Van Dellen makes the pump fake and throws over the top to Josh Dart for the touchdown. Providence is up 7-0. This one doesn't start out very promising. Ryan Richardson bobbles the pitch, but he recovers, gets some good blocks, and drags the tackler into the end zone for a 14-0 Lions lead. Third quarter, and St. Agnes goes to the air. Peter Vasky to Nick Church, and he outjumps the defender. The Aggies are within 21-14. That's as close as they get, though. The pass breakup by Jackson Baird helps to seal a win for Providence. They hold on for a 21-14 victory. Also in the Tri-Metro, Brooklyn Center hosting Blake. The Bears get on the board as John Vale throws to William Bean. The defender hits the turf as Bean makes the catch for a 7-0 Blake advantage. Leading 14-0, the Bears score on defense as Oliver Cornelius Knutson steps in front of the Chester Whaley pass. Has a short trip to the end zone. It's 21-0 Blake. Brooklyn Center returns the favor with a longer return. 295-pound defensive tackle Tyree Jolliffe intercepts the screen pass, and there's no one around to catch him. Jolliffe scores, but Blake spoils Willie Finley's debut as BC coach in a 35-14 win. Well, golfers know they can save a lot of strokes every round if they can putt well. In our final golf tip of the summer, Rush Creek Academy's Aaron Jacobson gives us some good tips on using the putter.
Today, we've got tips on how to practice your putting. So I just wanted to go through a couple simple things to start off as far as, how do I hold the club and stand, and then show you 3 different drills that you can utilize to try to help you putt better. So first, what I'd like to see is the golf ball positioned just slightly in front of the center of your stance or more towards your left heel. Second, I'd like to see the thumbs on the top side of the club. You'll notice a flat part on the club. and then try to get a nice rhythm to your stroke, back and through. The first drill, simple driveway marker or tour stick. Line the ball up about 3 feet from the cup and use the stick to help you line up both your body. You can see that your toes should be parallel with that. The club face should be perpendicular. And then utilize the stick to help you go back and through to make sure your stroke is not wavering around too much. Now, next drill is the globe drill. You can see I've positioned 6 golf balls around at about 3 feet distance, and I picked a hole with a little bit of slope to it. And the reason I wanted to do that is I wanted you to make it more on-course-like. If it's flat, that's great for the 3-foot drill. Here I want to see you have some putts that have right to left and left to right break. And I'm not going to hit any of those, but practice that. So on the 3-footers, I want to see you make 20 in a row with the stick. Here I want to see you make all 6 of them in a row without missing. If you miss, start over. The last drill is a speed drill. We call this the ladder drill. We set up with the ball 3 feet from the cup, starting off in about 3-foot increments, and then we've got a pin behind the cup. Use that to help you judge your distance. So we want to either make it or get it between the cup and the pin back there. Practice these putting tips, and I guarantee you'll take strokes off your game and eliminate your 3 putts.
All right, thanks, Aaron. It does a nice job of breaking it down, makes it look easy.
As Mike said, he's tough, though.
Yeah, if you missed, you got to start over.
Start again. Thanks, Jay. Straight ahead, what could make students concentrate a little better in the classroom?
There's something that's quickly catching on, and it may make wooden desk chairs obsolete. We'll be right back. Finally, at Brook Elementary School in Brooklyn Park, students are bouncing into the new school year. 9 different classrooms have been outfitted with stability balls to take the place of traditional chairs for students at the school. The principal says that, according to recent research, the switch could help children engage in their classwork.
What else did we learn? How do we line up? We sometimes look at a kid who is sitting perfectly still, hands folded, and we think they're really paying attention. They might not be. But if they're using their core muscles and they are moving somewhat, they can focus.
The stability balls were made possible as part of a $10,000 grant from Allina Healthcare. If the initial results prove positive, Principal Taylor hopes to furnish more classrooms with these in the future. I know some other schools that use them as well. Good way to get some of that nervous energy out,
Sitting still, not always a good thing.
No, not always. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Community Corner is coming up next. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Keep waving there, keep waving, big wave, big wave, big smile, big